Okay, let's go. Enough talk about diabetes. Welcome to Overwatch, and welcome to another episode of Coaching the Many. Today we're going to be talking about Zenyatta. We've got a whole pile of Zen VODs sent in. Like, I have a bunch of them.
Welcome to Overwatch.
People are sent in. Good timing, Sada. Welcome. Someone always manages to get it right during the intro. It's impeccable. It's incredible how well that happens. So yeah, we're going to start out with this one. We're going to try and avoid pausing quite as much, and then just go through these. I mean, this is a 15-minute video, so it shouldn't be too bad. We should just be able to get through it pretty quick. Hey, there we go. Hey, Cappy. Yeah, Capip. Thank you, Capip. And Patrick O'Brien as well, also. Oh no, that's Subscrublord gifting. Thank you, Subscrublord. And then Patrick O'Brien as well.
Overwatch,
it's crazy. Amazing. Amazing timing. Beautiful. That's many people. I like the scrub hypes as well. I'm so happy with these new emotes. I need to poke Jarrow to get some more done. Anyway, let's get started. Let's talk about Zenyatta. Zenyatta, one of my favorite heroes to play in the game. I'm so glad that I get to play him a little bit more. I was always sort of fed up of playing basically in previous patch with the Mercy meta being so prevalent. If you were a support main, there was a good chance that you would be stuck playing Mercy, and I hated playing Mercy. I'm not a good Mercy, I'm a bad Mercy. She does not suit my playstyle at all. I am much more active and aggressive in how I do things, so yeah. So for this game, yeah, you can see that we're about platinum, like gold platinum, middle of the road, about sort of even, you know, relatively average, so hey. But the big thing with Zen, like, the nice thing about Zen is you can be very active in ways that you might not be able to, you might not expect, basically. Zenyatta lets you do a lot of things in a very, It's weird, because people consider, like, Zenyatta is super vulnerable, and, like, diving Zenyatta is always a high priority, but Zenyatta is also very self-sufficient in that he can, like, you can kill tracers if you know what you're doing. And so we're going to see if we can kill a couple of tracers here. We're also going to see if we are going to be peeking corners, if we're going to be using corners correctly. It's a big part of playing Zenyatta is abusing corners and using your right clicks. We don't have a Lucio, so we're fine going low ground. High ground is always a little bit risky. Charging up. And, like, honestly, that's fine. Okay, we want to be watching to the right side. Okay, there's the tracer. So the big thing for us to keep an eye on here is just keep an eye where the tracer is. Winston goes in, put an orb on him. Nice. Nice, good job, good job. Close, very close. Like, honestly, we were doing the right things, which kind of makes me happy. Let's turn the sound back on. There we go. Let's back up.
Okay, they've got really damage heavy counter.
So the only thing I'd mention is, like, no, we're okay here. Like, we just got to be a little bit careful about, like, there's a moment or two, like, standing still. Just, there's never any reason. I've said this before and I'll say it again. There's very few reasons in Overwatch you need to be standing still. So always just a little bit of movement doesn't hurt. Getting the headshot here is fine. It's great. We did the right thing. We just unleashed all our balls at Tracer's face. And then we were forced into a reload because we're out of ammo.
Moira's low.
Sucks. If we had ammo, this would have been a dead Tracer. Not really much we could do about that in this situation, though.
Moira's low.
Being realistic. Like, there's no easy quick fix for this.
Okay, falling back.
That would have been a very dead Tracer. And I think you've done enough to force out a recall as well. And your team's already winning, so it's like, he's probably okay. Yeah, so your team won anyway. And, like, this is one of the things that I find with Zenyatta is you need to, when you're playing support in general, you kind of got to accept, which is if your team wins the fight, but you die, that's still kind of okay. Orb him. He wants it. So this is where, as a team, and, like, I know you're playing at a 4-stack at the moment, so don't be afraid to just, like, as a support, you actually have a much better, and especially when you're coming back from spawn, you have a much better readout on people's health than the team itself. Like, odds of this Reaper knowing that the 3 people behind him are hurt or on low hit points, it's actually kind of, it's very difficult for him to know that. So what you can do is you can say, like, yeah, just hold on for a second, guys, everyone's hurt, so let's just focus on healing up. And then when that starts happening, you'd be surprised about how well it works. Like, this D.Va's gone in and tried to make a play when everyone's hurt, so no one's going to be there supporting her, no one's able to do anything, so she's just going to die. Good, Discord, just... Nice. Keep that orb on the Mercy. Nice, good. Excellent. Okay, be careful about doing this. There's no reason for us to actually be moving on to the point here. We can actually just still stay in the corner we were in. The reason why I say be careful is if this Roadhog, and this is a very blurry, but this is a Roadhog, you'll have to believe me and just trust me on that one. If this Roadhog moves forward, then what's going to happen is he's just going to hook you. Like, Zenyatta is very easy to hook, because you don't have any advanced mobility or anything like that. You've got to use line of sight to be able to do stuff with it. Unfortunately, we missed the Reaper. It's a bit of a shame. This is where you get frustrated at your team, because they should be able to win this fight. So the big thing with Moira's is just don't panic. So Moira has a hitbox or a model a lot like Widowmaker's. The head seems to be a little bit smaller, but Moira is basically like an eye shape. And like a lot of heroes with Zen, you just want to be aiming for headshots. This is where, you know, you want to go nuts at your team, because it's like, all that Moira is doing is attacking a Zenyatta in like the most inefficient way imaginable. So surely, this team can win. This is what I was afraid of happening, which is the layering of ults. Luckily, Valkyrie is powerful enough, and I think this is pre-patch, so luckily, and even then, Valkyrie is like long-lasting enough that it doesn't matter as much as, say, like Sound Barrier in Trance, because you'll still have the ultimate. Valkyrie will still be running. It's not efficient, but hey. In this instance, by the way, pre-patch, you would be okay just dying to this and then letting Mercy ult and then res you. You see a lot of pro teams do this, where the Zenyatta will actually let themselves get killed. Then they will ultimately rest. Hey!
Yay. This warms my wannabe Zen main heart. And I'm over halfway to that stream baby XD.
All the stream babs. I can't support all the stream babs! This is post-patch. Really? Okay, this is post-patch. Post-patch, then, yeah, you are just fine using... Like, in post-patch, Trance should come first. Because there's no guarantee that the Mercy will be able to pick up the Zenyatta if he dies, and Transcendence is just a lot better against Dragon Blade anyway. Just felt like we just didn't retreat quite fast enough. Yeah, again, just a slightly strange movement. Like, this seems very finicky to complain about, but you see he like goes back and forward. You just want to be backing up straight away. Like, any movement time spent in Transcendence was, like, yeah, you want to be moving in the correct direction. The big thing here isn't necessarily even to get away from the Roadhog and stuff, it's just to get back to where, you know, people are fighting. So the Roadhog's pulled you away from the fight, so now people can die, so just back up to get to your team as quickly as possible. It just seems a bit weird that we kind of go in, like, we kind of do this, and then go this way, when we really just want to do this. And get the fuck out.
Genji. I'm out.
This is dicey. I'd say, especially at this moment, you will be fine just leaving the point. Sounds like a weird thing to say, because it's like, surely you must be contesting. We haven't seen the kill feed get filled up with like, oh, everyone's dead, so we can still assume that the fight is kind of running. This has not filled up at all for the enemy team. So we're A-okay, I'm just backing up. Like, you want someone else to be doing the contesting here, because like, you should be the target that they're focusing. Luckily, they're not. Now the Tracer is, finally. Get the orb on the Tracer. Good. When Tracers are going for you, just orb them. Put them under a lot of pressure. If you land one shot on the Tracer, she has to recall, because otherwise the next shot will finish her off, probably. So you're putting a lot of pressure on her the moment you put that orb on.
Alright, pull back. I'm learning.
Nice. Like, this is honestly, like, a good chunk of Zen's sort of playtime. Do not be... yeah. Just want to talk about ulting Roadhogs. Don't be afraid to just take your time charging up and landing the shot on them. The thing with ulting Roadhogs is the shot counts a lot because they can't heal it, so you know that damage is going to stick. Like, the hard part with Roadhogs is you don't expect the damage to stick. Ho! Ho! Line them up and knock them down. Holy shit, we got lucky there. Lol? Question mark?
Genji.
Don't get a big head, you're still a support. Luckily, I think we are healing the Mercy there, but hey.
Genji.
Yeah, we are still healing the Mercy, good. If they're diving the other support, just make sure you have an orb on them, and then just Discord orb the Tracer or the Genji, and then just try and kill them.
Good one, guys. Good one. Wow.
The only thing I'd say is that when we are doing the corner peeking again, we're just peeking out that little bit too far. Like you want to peek out as little as possible. You want to give the enemy as little chance as possible to see you, to react to you, to do anything to you. It sounds like a very minor thing, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. If they suddenly pull out a Hanzo and just start firing arrows into doorways, you'll die, and that's really bad. So just be very mindful when you're doing the corner peek that you don't want to be floating out in the middle of the doorway. You want to be to the edge of the doorway, and you just peek, damage, and then yeah. The DPS Moira, yeah, the Moira on their team is.
It's a huge difference if
you should feel pretty good if the Moira is like diving the backline, just holding down right mouse button, especially on a team with like Reaper.
Yeah.
Oh, I should probably wait because no one else has got mobility.
The FPS is too low. The FPS is lower, but that could just be a side effect of recording. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt on that.
Okay, get to do it.
I'll push Diva out.
It's also less bad because like it doesn't matter quite as much on Zenyatta. It matters a lot if you're playing like Tracer or Genji, stuff that needs smooth tracking and aiming. But with Zen, a lot of what you're doing is either just like spamming at targets or you're spamming around corners.
Okay, get to do it.
I'll push Diva out.
I actually want to see something before we roll out. Orb is on the Genji. Okay, good. So they get to their positions very quickly, which probably means they have a Lucio. Nice.
Diva's on a mech.
Back up. Be careful. Sounds like a weird thing to complain about, but... So if we watch where our team goes in this instance, you can see that everyone is now drifted towards the point. Their team is now all here. The best play for their team would have all four of these people just run at you. Because what the fuck are you going to do about it? Zarya's here, sure, Zarya can give you a little bit of cover, like she put a bubble on you here, but if they just all ran at us, we would be fucked. And we can't actually support anyone from here now without going the same direction their team went. So if their team played that better, what would have ended up happening is they would just push through here and then probably scoop up Zarya and you and then push back to the point. And to go and support these people, you have to be going the other direction. You can't just try and muscle through what their team is doing at the moment. That would just end really, really badly. So this is a little bit sort of like we get a little bit lucky here, and their team just doesn't notice the free Zenyatta.
Now Reaper, that's our first focus number one on the order. I'm gonna die. Alright, focus Lucio.
But you notice that it's so hard for us to support people from here, and we're doing sort of. You remember us complaining about the DPS Moira before? Well, now we're a DPS Zenyatta. Like we're trying to cover a space when no one's actually fighting. But no one's actually here anymore. Nothing of importance is happening here.
I'm gonna die.
Ah, fuck.
And so we end up in a position where we can't heal anybody.
Target is now Reaper. That's our first focus number one on all of these pushes.
So we just wanted to fold back in towards sort of the main area, like the middle.
Sorry guys, we're going Reaper, okay? That's our main target.
And so a target call has been made. I'm not 100% sure who's making that target call, but hey. If someone is like predetermined a target, you try and get the Orb of Discord on that target.
I am.
People taking it steady.
Yes.
Fire a shot, swap orb target. It's looking okay. Staying nice and safe in the back as well. Checking corners as well, which is nice to see.
Alright, let them out.
Mercy's getting the res off, that's nice.
Reaper half.
Get that orb on Mercy, good. Should be a number of kills.
Oh, just getting pinged. Boot. What the fuck's booting? You got this, guys, you got this. Keep going. Just melt that Reaper.
Not 100% sure on that alt. We'll look at it again in a second, I'm just thinking.
Oh, just getting pinged.
So, with Death Blossoms, like, I think we end up saving the Zarya, but that's pretty much it. And being honest, the Zarya could have died there and we'd probably be okay. The thing with Death Blossoms is you'll usually find the first kill comes in like the first second. And then by then it's already kind of too late. It's very, very hard to Transcendence a Death Blossom without wasting it, because one of two things will happen. You'll either do it prematurely, which means that if Reaper doesn't Death Blossom and just waits, then you're fucked. And the second thing is you'll do it sort of as a reaction, but by the time you've already done it, a 200 hit point hero's already died, and so it's kind of like the fight's already swung to their favor with that ultimate. It's a very, very tricky thing to do to catch Death Blossoms. And I'm not sure it's quite worth it, just sort of using it that late. My instincts are telling me that, like, no. We'll see if that costs us.
Good job.
Another big thing is just if you are in a 4-stack with a fellow support player, do say and communicate about your ultimates, and then try and figure out who's going to use what first at what point. This is a very dangerous position for us to be. Notice that think about where safety is and isn't. Their team's playing a Lucio and a Reaper. Now, luckily, Reaper's just died, but sometimes, especially at this level of play, their team will just do something crazy. And so they could just speed boost in and just run straight for us, and we'd be dead. Like, there's nothing we can do about that. There's nothing safe over here. There's nothing safe about being here. This is just a bad, bad, bad place to be. Always, like, as Zen, you are the back line. Like, if you think about the position the team's occupying, like this space here, you'd be safe over here-ish, because to get to you, they'd have to go through the team. But yeah, just be very, very careful about here. I was so far forward because I was calling for us to push. Not sure if it would have been the right decision. I'd say no. Like, pushing towards their spawn is always risky, and like, especially if they have like a Rein or something, pushing into a Reinhardt, especially when he hasn't used an ultimate, is kind of begging to be shattered. Like, you guys can just keep holding here, no problem. No, you just want to keep pressure on. That's all you really want to be doing.
No problem. Can hold this.
And then you just want to be putting orbs through the slot here. Again, just be like, you don't want to be in a situation where, like, think of it this way. You have two situations. So let's draw corner and Zen. Okay, so this is Zen. We have the corner here. You can either be sort of just stood out there holding down left mouse button. So if I draw a mouse, right, you could just be here holding left mouse button and doing damage. You are constantly visible while doing this, and the damage isn't a burst. It's just a constant stream of DPS. Alternatively, you have this situation where you are here. Whoops. You are holding down right mouse button, and you are not visible. And you are charging, charging, charging. You poke out, you fire, and then you poke back in. And during most of the time here, you are completely safe, and the damage comes in a single huge chunk that is going to kill something. So in instances like this, like what we do here is fine, and then instead of holding down left mouse button here, just put a Discord orb on something, and then like we move even further out into the open. We just want to tuck away, right mouse button, come back out, fire another salvo through. It seems like a weird thing to be doing, but it's just a really, really effective use of your time.
Fuck, I threw the game. Fuck, I threw the game.
I got him.
Did we run out of ammo there? Yeah, we did. It's a shame. No, we didn't.
I got him.
There was no reason to stop firing.
I got him.
Reinhardt comes in, just smacks ahead because that's not really our failure. That's more the tanks just being in a bad position. Oh, that's a bad grab. Oh, that's a bad graph. Oh no, that's a game-losing graph. What rank are you? What rank am I? I usually float around 3.8, but this season I've been having a really rough time, so I'm about 3.4, 3.5, which has sucked. But I haven't been playing on my main account, or playing my main role.
I have ult. Again.
I've been trying to learn a new hero pool as well, which has been a struggle. It's been a struggle just to play that hero pool more than anything, which has frustrated me a lot as well. Okay. We have Trance. Time's running out. I assume we have Valkyrie as well.
Wait the last second. I'm kidding.
They have Earthshatter, they guarantee it as well.
We need to push the soldier. Maki.
I'm going with you. Oh,
Yeah, this is kind of what I was afraid of. Okay, so when you're coming to a push like this, you could go for an aggressive Zenyatta push. You have that option. Valkyrie would be better, is what I would say, especially at the moment, because basically the way I think of it is that Valkyrie is just very, very good for any fight that has to go for a long time, because Valkyrie lasts a really long time. Transcendence is just much more of a sort of a good panic button. So in this instance, Transcendence would have worked better. Not Transcendence, Valkyrie would have worked better, and just and then just push in and use that to get in. The sort of, with the patch changes to Valkyrie, like, you want to be using it on these aggressive moments. There's probably no better moment to use it than just before a fight starts, as a fight is beginning and opening up. Because you don't want to be in the situation now where you're sort of doing these panic ults. If Valkyrie wasn't ready, I'd be genuinely surprised. There it goes now. Yeah, it's sort of one of the things that I think Mercy players just have to learn, is just to use Valkyrie as an initiation tool. Because it really makes your team, it basically gives everyone on your team a personal Mercy, which is really good. Really, really high value. And also means that we now have the option of the Transcendence when aggression is happening, or when they're trying to make a play of their own. You can use Transcendence to nullify that. So Valkyrie better proactively, Transcendence better reactively. Nice thing about Transcendence as well is it's instantaneous, you're immortal. It's all good. You're not going to die the second you activate it.
ah, fuck.
And that fight just went bad, just due to a lack of decisiveness on that push as well.
Someone. Or Diva, either or.
The video is relatively low FPS, yes.
No, he was getting...
I am streaming at Fluent 60, however.
Do we want to run Pharah?
I'm assuming the FPS is low because they're recording.
That is alright, yeah.
Wait, who was the Pharah player?
If not, do try and get it to at least 60.
I'm not a fair player.
Okay, rolling out, get the orb on someone. Also, I'm just, like, this is very, very nitpicky, but it does kind of annoy me. Don't go this way. Go this way, it's safer. The reason why, if we go over this... Let's say that they have a Lucio and a Soldier 76, and Mercy, and Damage Amp, and one or two bits and pieces, and they come careening through here, and oh look, you're in line of sight. When you're going this way, it's just much, much harder for you to end up in line of sight. I'm about to prove this point. Not quite. It works out relatively okay, but yeah, the direction you leave from spawn won't change that. It's just, this route is not as safe and doesn't actually get you anything compared to taking the other route where you just come around this corner, and as you come around this corner you can try and get an angle here, just fire down this pathway and hit something. Otherwise you just sort of tuck in here and then just sort of hide in this space. You have a health pack past the wall, you have walls here, entire team is in front of you. The other big thing I'll mention is we like half lead the charge here. Like, give it a second or two, just stop for a second or two, let the tanks lead, okay? And then we want to stick with our tanks. We don't want to back off this way. We want, like, our retreat direction is wrong. There's nothing safe about going this route. The safety this route, because you have people that can help us here. This is sort of the Zenyatta in the backline going, oh my god, guys, they're just diving me every single time and I'm dying all the time. I'm not saying that this is you in this case, Missile Mage, but this sort of seems to happen a lot to Zenyatta players, where they'll end up in a position like this, where it's like, one guy came around the flank, and instead of moving towards the team, towards where safety is, they just move away and move further back and further out of safety, which is kind of what we end up doing here. You gotta remember, like, Zenyatta 1v1s, Zenyatta can win a lot of them, but it's always a chance, and it's always a risk. That was, like, well caught by the Tracer, but that wouldn't have happened if we moved towards our team, for example. I apologize for this in comms, yeah. The key is just to learn from it. Like, if your team is just muscling straight onto the point, there is no, like, if you think about this map, like, let me draw a schematic of this map, because it's just a very, very simple schematic of this map. It would look something like this. Okay, so you got, like, the middle circle thing here, you have the point here with, like, the high ground up here. It's not drawn very well, but whatever. And like you got the pillars here and stuff like that, and there's like a pathway down here, and there's a pathway around here, whatever. You get the idea. Okay, this is kind of how this map looks. If your team is playing super aggro for the point as Zenyatta, the safest position for you to be is like back here, not necessarily back here, more like back here, or even in this alleyway. Like, that's where we want to get to. You messed up the dick drawing, I did that rather intentionally. Ooh, get the healing on, nice. So again, just a small optimization, just being... Like, it's okay just slamming damage into the Reinhardt barrier, actually, I'll allow that. So that's fine. Then we react appropriately to the Tracer, slamming damage into the barrier. One of the big things that they changed, like, this was a considerable amount of time ago, considerable amount of time ago, they changed how the right click worked, so that you wouldn't actually lose DPS if you just released it instantaneously. So it's actually even on DPS, but I'm fine with us pulling back here. Put the heal orb on him, charge right clicks. Watch for the Tracer, because she's sharking around to the left side. There she is. You know that she's coming for you. Good. Don't get too distracted though. We're missing out on healing up. Like, we don't have a Orb of Harmony up. We should just take a... Like, when the Tracer's over here, we know she's over here, we have the Discord Orb on her. We can just turn to the right. We don't have a Harmony Orb on someone. That's bad. That's very, very bad. We should be healing someone while... Basically, if all that's happening on the backline is that Tracer is just, like, frightened to come in on you, and you're still healing someone, you have a huge advantage. Because you're still being effective, Tracer isn't. Or not as effective as she should be. And now suddenly we're being more effective than this Tracer. Whiffs the stick. Nice, very nice. Get that healing on. Nice. I'm actually okay with this, although I think you guys stacked ults again. For fuck's sake. Guys! Just communicate with each other.
Moira next, Moira. Go Moira. Go Moira.
It's like you're both responding to the same... This happens a lot with support players when you don't communicate, but because you're in the same 4 stack, there is no excuse. Of like, everyone is low, and then everyone just goes,
Push in, push in, push in.
Feels bad, man. Again, communicate with your stack partner. It's on our to do better list, yeah. Just take a moment, like even before the game, and just say, yeah, like your ultimates will usually come on at the same time. Just say, in general, I will ult first. Like, or if we're pushing, then like Mercy should be ulting first. That kind of thing. Just lay 1 or 2 ground rules. You can occasionally break them, but just have an idea of who's going to be using what ults. As Zenyatta, you should generally be the one reacting to powerful ultimates. So, as Zen, you want to be reacting to stuff like tack visors, dragon blades, barrages even. Like, you can do a lot of good reactive play. But with Mercy, when it's more of a proactive play, that's when you want to be using the Valkyries.
Fuck.
And if they buff Res again, then Mercy ults first every time. It's not really a C9, you guys tried.
We just couldn't kill that Moira during the store.
You tried. Yeah, big things for this one is just don't stand in the middle of doorways. Make sure your healing orb is up as much as possible. We seem to be doing okay against the Tracers, which should be alright, but yeah, beyond that, like, it looked okay, and then just stop layering support ults, and don't be afraid to be proactive with the support ults. If you are in a position where it's like, we have one fight, we just got to engage hard on them, then engage hard on them, use the support ult to do it, and go from there. Okay, I'm going to move on to another video. I'm going to go to this screen, even though my webcam's not going to pop up on it. We're going to go back to this one. There we go. Hello. So this is a different one. And hey. We're back on Gibraltar. Who knew? We've got Naruto Boy 96. Please tell me he wasn't born in 1996. So let's see, how long is this one? 20 minutes. Have a VOD for you to review. I looked it over myself and know I need to take cover more and try not to fight Widowmakers. Anything else I should look to improve on? And look at the frames this guy's getting. Holy shit. Oh, it's juicy. Right. So this is 2.4K, so a little bit lower. I am your shield. Still weird to, like, Overwatch without music still weirds me out. I always have the Overwatch music playing even though I play my own. Just always be careful. So, very minor thing, but when there's a Junkrat, sounds so strange, but like you come out here, first things first, just a good habit coming out of spawns anyways, just to check in front of the spawn door. But when we see the Junkrat, like, don't be afraid to just have a quick scan of the floor, because you can see here, the moment a Junkrat is on the map, just take a quick gander at the floor and just go, huh, there's a trap here. The reason why is, like, this isn't going to kill the Reinhardt, for example, but it will give him a big fat wad of ultimate charging. You don't want that happening, so yeah. Just always keep your eye out for that. Team 2 doing okay. Let's check for better targets for our orb. So just taking a second or two just to back up here and just check the people up top, because they're just going to be better served with our heal orb than the Ana. It just enables them to be a bit more aggressive. Like, we're losing track of the DPS at the moment. You can see the Widow is super low. Definitely orb the Reinhardt during this instance. Seems like a weird thing to comment on, but you orb discord this guy. This Reinhardt now is just very, very clearly making an aggressive play. Like, he's just running at them. So this Reinhardt wants to engage. You facilitate that by just giving this Reinhardt an orb, and the moment he charges, you just slap that orb on him. Because when a charge happens, everyone just ends up shooting that Reinhardt. So it's just good healing for you, and I know the Ana's sort of taking care of him, but just that little bit of extra insurance is fine. Orb on the Tracer. Okay, good. Minor thing, but you can see the Ana's already doing it. When you're coming out through here, you should be looking up and behind. Seems like a strange thing again, but like, especially if you're on this side, just check up and behind, because there usually is maybe one or two people up and behind you, and you can generally get a kill or two if you're lucky. So you can see a threat came in from up and behind. Always be checking for that one. This is slightly ballsy. That's what happens. The way you engage Widows, like, she gets a little bit lucky there. But the way we engage Widowmakers as Zenyatta isn't by doing like this orb spam thing, because if the Widowmaker is patient, then she will just wait and then fire a shot at you, and just sort of nail you with two body shots. But the way you do it is you get an Orb of Discord on her, and then you do the corner poke, where you just come out and you right click at her. It's just a shame. Must be aimbot, yeah. Aimbot, confirmed, hacks. I like that the Reinhardt is called Girth Chatter. That amuses me greatly. And well, welcome to the most painful part of Zenyatta, which is the run back from spawn. Not so keen on the low ground route. Again, minor thing. Very good place for Zenyatta to go is up here, go across here, and then get onto the boxes over here. You can actually, like, if they aren't holding high ground, if they aren't falling around, you can get a lot of healing done. If they are holding high ground, then what you can do is you can just come around and then just drop down anyway. But by being on that high ground, if they aren't holding high ground, is really, really powerful. Must say I try and challenge Widows as well, and I shouldn't. When it goes well, but if like you both end up trading, she's done better than you, because killing Zenyatta is just so high value. We get very lucky there. So yeah, we're just like, it's not that we're necessarily just challenging the Widow, it's that we're challenging the Widow out in the open as well. There is nowhere safe for us to go. We are spamming at her, sure, which is causing her problems. But if that shot was slightly better, then we would be dead. Then this push would be infinitely harder. And again, our job here is to just get to safety. Like, our job here is to get into a position where we can keep support on these guys and get that Orb Harmony to work on this Reinhardt. So we just want to get in to here and just be safe here, and then we can, like, your primary target, your primary job is to be the support, to be a healer. Secondary job is to be DPS. Unless your name is Jajonak, that is your priority. So yeah, now we're being a bit careful, which is good. Not the biggest fan of this infra site. Use it to keep an eye on that Widow. Okay, she's got line of sight. Good. Okay, now you can actually start pushing forward. Nice. Get ready to orb this Tracer if she comes in. She didn't come in, which is good.
Alright, let's get this shit.
Good defensive positioning as well. Try and avoid catching those 5 strikes. It's weird, you avoid catching 5 strikes for the simple... Like, you're not in any threat from this, but it does give Reinhardt a shitload of charge if people don't just avoid these things.
A nano Reinhardt, shortly followed by a Tracer pulse bomb kill.
What? Just showing you that Earth Shatter is working as intended. Blocked. Oh, look who dropped his shield. Even though he might have thought, oh, I blocked that. No, Earth Shatter actually has a duration that lasts about a second. So yeah, that happens.
Widow's back.
Just put the orb on it.
On the bridge specifically.
We're okay holding off here. Might want to trance if we're feeling threatened. Like, you could have made the argument for maybe trancing here, but like, I'd assume that the fight is going well enough that you wouldn't do that. But unfortunately, hey, it's gold Widow and gold Junkrat. Reliable DPS ain't really a thing.
Get in here. Get in, up. Oh shit, Widow's right here.
I got Zen out of spawn, we should force a fight. Force a fight.
Bitch. Bitch! I am now staggered.
Yeah, we're good,
Get the payload.
Nice. This is good Zen play. Maybe getting a little bit too far forward now. There we go. But yeah, this is almost like optimal Zen position will probably be up top on the bridge, but this is close to optimal Zen position. The big thing, this is the situation you want to be in as Zenyatta or any kind of good long-range hero, is where there's fighting in front of you, your heal targets are all clearly visible, enemy targets have to run in front of you to go and get to the point, so they're going to be moving in front of like all of your line of sight, and then if you need to ult, you can get there pretty easily as well. So
Get the payload.
we can just stay back here, nice and safe. When we start moving up here, this is when it starts getting riskier. It's not quite as necessary. Gives us a slightly better angle on the payload, but we are a little bit more vulnerable, but all other threat is focused on the payload, so it doesn't matter too much. And there's the Widow. This Widow is shooting well. If you... God, as I try and breathe coffee. If you die to this Widow, take it as a sign that you're probably out of position. You might think, well, this Widowmaker is clearly the exception. Most Widowmakers don't shoot this well. When you get good enough, Widowmakers will start shooting this well. And like, if you start just blundering out in the middle of nowhere or taking stupid fights, you'll get punished for it. That should have been a charge shot. Like, we can see her coming. We should be charging now. It just causes problems for the Tracer. There we go, that's better. She's going to wait out the Discord orb, but good. Let's follow the Reinhardt. So, yeah, we're kind of just stuck in, like, terrible position land here. If you think about where's safe, ideally, your team is pushing too slowly, basically, which is letting their team have all the advantages. Their team works so well when your team pushes slowly like this, because the Reinhardt is just kind of stuck out in the middle of nowhere and has nowhere to go because no one's following him. The ideal thing to do here would be, is at this moment here, you see the Reinhardt wants to go. You want to go with this Reinhardt. So the safest thing to do would be to move here and then just follow out the Reinhardt, and then just try and get towards this wall, because that's a little bit safer, especially like under the Widowmaker, under where Widow is, because that's just safer for you. Instead, we end up hesitating a lot, and we don't follow the Reinhardt, so now we're sort of just stuck in this open position, and now we're stuck getting chased by a Moira Orb. Anna's trying to heal us, but Anna's trying to heal everyone, because we can't heal anyone at this point. And it's all suddenly, ah! And then she blunders into a Junkrat trap, and it all goes wrong. But now we're engaging the Widowmaker again. Widowmaker just takes time with the shots and lands one. We landed one, but her shots hit pretty hard.
Can we switch to something that can dive this Widow, please? I can't really get to her tracer.
Ooh, nice. Again, too hesitant. We're going to end up stuck, like, out in the middle of nowhere again. Use this time now to just push towards these crates. Like, you want to move from cover to cover and just get moving. This is the worst position we can be, just on third point, watch point, Gibraltar. If you want to have, like, all the classic Widowmaker spots, up here is pretty standard, but it's risky. Here is usually where they stand. So this is like the Widowmaker vantage point. She's usually on this bridge around this doorway. Just keep in line of sight here. So we don't want to be here. We want to be in towards this wall. The nice thing about this wall as well is it has a large health pack in it. It has the payload on it. It's all good. It's a good wall.
Force something, put her down.
Nice. Let's get towards that payload. We're too out in the open. We're too far back, too out in the open. Again, too out in the open. Way too out in the open. And then there was an inevitability to that man nor beast could stop. I think even if we like predicted that and tranced it, I don't think it would have stopped anyone dying. Someone would have been charged, someone would have been sniped. I said we probably want to use this Transcendence soon. Sooner rather than later. We probably want to use it now. Okay, well the Moira did it for us. Like, again, we're just being a little bit too hesitant. If you want to get out in this space, then you can just take the doorway over here and come out a little bit more so that you can be a little bit more use. The window of opportunity is like, you can see this D.Va, she's using the defense matrix. That is a sign that the D.Va wants people to start moving forward a little bit. Or like she wants to clear some space, she wants to protect from 1 or 2 shots, she wants people to start coming out and start pushing in. Because your team, if your team just stays in this space here, the enemy team wins. 100% of the time. So yeah, the Moira does the aggressive engage thing. Somehow Roadhog dies during this, which is bad. You would have probably been okay trancing that. It feels like it's like we're anticipating a Dragon Blade from their team, which is never going to come. We're holding on to this ultimate, waiting for... It's like we're playing from a flowchart, where it's like, you know, I can imagine someone's written a guide of like, are you playing Zenyatta? Do you have trance? Let's just trance. Okay, we follow yes, and then we have a split off, and it's like enemy ult. And if the enemy hasn't ulted, no, then it's don't trance. This is not correct. This is not correct. because the enemy team has no great big superpowered ultimate, and so we're just holding on to this Transcendence, never making anything of it. This Transcendence is a one fight. Like, you can just win a fight with this button. They've used it, this is a good time for you to use it. They've used France, they want to make a play. You can cancel their play. And so we just hold on to it. I actually want to go back through this for very, very quickly, so I'm going to set it to like 2 times speed. Jump forward a little bit, jump forward a little bit more. Okay, this is our first Transcendence getting built up. So we have built Transcendence. Yeah, I shot a flub.
What was that? On the bridge specifically.
If my suspicions are correct, we did not use this Transcendence once. That is a huge misuse of our resources.
Get in here. Get in, up. Oh, shit,
So for pros usually generate ultimates, like 1 ultimate every 2 fights. For us mortals, is more like 1 ultimate every 3 fights. If you're having a really good game, it can even be an ultimate every fight, but then if you're doing so much damage, the enemy team is giving you a lot of free shots. But yeah, still haven't used this Transcendence. This is a pretty Transcendence. And considering how long, like, you shouldn't think of that as like, oh, well, I managed to conserve our Transcendence. This is not good. This is not a good thing to have happen. Because what it means is that there were probably points where you could have tranced, won the fights, and then just built another one.
Can we switch to something we can dive this window, please? Can't really get through this.
Woo! Like, in theory, you could have even tranced then, once the hook landed. And just started an offensive push. Moira's ult is better for it, but... And we get Earth-Shattered, and yeah. I feel I'm correct in my suspicions. That there was no... Never once did we use our Transcendence. You are somewhat correct in this conservative style of play if they have Zarya, Genji, Soldier 76 even. You can play like this, and you can just play to counter their ults. And you can be very, like, the most reactive Zenyatta in the world. If they have a team comp like this one, where it's Tracer, Widowmaker, you have nothing to really react to, aside from what their Zenyatta is doing. You could, alternatively, if your team was running the Genji from the start, use Transcendence and your Dragon Blade at the same time and just ensure that it's 100% safe. That's more a dive compy style, but it can work very efficiently. Yeah, that ain't a good thing. That is not a good thing. Do not think that for a second that is a good thing. Remember, the way to think of a support ultimate is a support ultimate. If no one if nobody does an equivalent support ultimate, you will probably win the fight. Especially with Transcendence, because Transcendence is basically saying during these couple of seconds, nobody is going to die. Nobody is going to die during this time. You are 100% safe in my hands. We want to get up onto where everyone else is going. Let's go. I don't like being down here. I don't feel safe here. The reason why I want to be up here is it's just, like, okay, 2 things. First, if the Widowmaker was that good on defense, you can absolutely bet your bottom dollar she's going to be playing on attack. That Widowmaker was pretty goddamn good. So you're going to be fighting against a Widow. This means, if you think about this map and how this map is laid out, You have like a, you know, the wall here. It's not the best angle for it, and then like the geometry here. Right? You want to be up against this wall, because if you're up against this wall, the Widowmaker has no good sightlines on you. The nice thing also about being up here is that if you need to drop down to safety, it's straight there. If you're over here, and let's say like a Winston and a Genji jump you, where the fuck do you go? You just die. You have no outs. You could argue, well, maybe I should be over here. Or, you know, I just want to peek and do some damage from here. You can do a lot of damage from just up here. You can see all where your team is. You have the box for safety. If they start pushing around the corner, you drop down, you're A-okay. Or you drop down, you go through the side room. Over here, there's just like the nearest escapes for you, if they dive you, if they do anything aggressive, are so far away. This is a scary place to be. Okay. Okay, they have a Bastion. So, first things first, like, just watch Point Gibraltar 101 in general. Always, always, always be mindful of this bit. I actually, like, I know we're following the Reinhardt here, but I don't like being out here, because the standard thing on Watch Point Gibraltar these days is a Roadhog will just pop up here and then just hook someone. And in this instance, we would die. For some reason, it's a Lucio, so it's not the biggest deal in the world, but hey. Objective for us now is to get the Orb of Discord onto that Bastion, if we can find a way to do it.
Me.
Careful for there, Widow.
Should probably be falling back a little bit. Actually, no, we should be okay now. With these kills coming in from the McCree, we should be alright to stay here. Watch your top left. Something killed that McCree, and I'm not quite sure where it was, but hey. This is where we want to be really careful and probably be ready to retreat. The big thing we're going to be looking for again is that Bastion. See if he's trying to sneak back onto the point, get some damage in. Okay, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back out. Good. Take a moment, let your health regenerate, and we should honestly be calling for like backing out. This is not a good engagement for us. Yeah. When you see him transforming, like that's your signal, get out.
Oh, Bastion's on high ground.
The reason why we shouldn't be overthinking the defense at this point is because like we have people coming back from spawn, their spawn distance is so much closer, they're instantly going to have people back. And so now we're in trouble. And once those first deaths start coming through, you have to just pull back.
Oh, Bastion's on high ground, watch out.
The pirate ship is in wrong waters. The pirate ship is going to struggle on second point, let me put it that way. You play Junkrat on second, you will destroy this. You could even make it work on first. Just too much high ground surrounding where the point's going. Be very careful here. You still have time for a tank or something to get out, and Moira's better at contesting than you. Yeah, don't rush this. Wow. I'd even say like this poking here is just super risky. Especially with like a Tracer or a Lucio, if they just engage hard on you and realize, hey, there's just a Zenyatta out there in the middle of the open. Like you have time, you have Moira ready to jump on it as well. It should be okay. The big thing here is that we should have been moving back as well. The Reinhardt should have just stayed still and you might have been okay, but we should have been moving away as well. That's such high value for them. Valor vs Uprising and Silk Thread is out sick. Agility should be fine for that match.
Why did you switch to Pharaoh?
Just resetting. Be very goddamn careful. Nice. Good job. Don't do any of this shit though. Against their team lineup. It's just too risky. Like, we get a bit lucky that the Tracer just blunders into us, but if we're going to be poking from anywhere, you want to be poking out this way. Where it's, you know, there's a barrier for a reason. If you go back out this way and you get your head blown off, I'm going to be furious. Especially now that there's walls. There are walls, we want to be ridiculously careful about this. Honestly, this is a moment to try and to trance. And we don't trance. It's very likely we lose this fight. Zafara begging for heals. So like, that was a perfect instance of transcend to use trance. This is an engage. It's not a good engage, but it's an engage. The fight has started. You got a team that is looking to kill a Bastion that does a super high amount of damage. It sucks that we started this by losing the McCree, but it's still kind of winnable, especially if you do throw the trance at it. Enemy team doesn't have sound barrier. You'd be okay here. Instead, we just kind of sit on the high ground and don't do anything. I think this player has the Q button unbound. It's an interesting issue. Normally you have Zenyatta's like overusing trance. This is one of the first times I've seen someone with like too much discipline on it. Again, this would be a time to use trance. This would also... Okay, McCree has saved the day. McCree got ridiculously lucky. I just want to emphasize how lucky this McCree got because we can see where the McCree is, and if anyone on their team just turned around and shot him, he would die. You would have been fine just trancing, running over to him, because this is a McCree using Deadeye, and you'll be able to keep him alive. Luckily, the D.Va picks the exact anti-timing for the bomb. You could have tranced for the bomb maybe, but it's not worth it, but onto the Deadeye land, so okay, fair enough. Let's go back to high ground. Slightly slower route, but hey, works. He's transphobic. Clearly. It's 2018, man. Again, we're doing that thing. If they still had that Widowmaker, we'd be dead. Just saying. Like, this is just being too out in the open. We have Reinhardt literally stood there in a position where we can shoot at their team from in complete and absolute safety. And we're out here in the middle of the open begging to die. And if you die with Transcendence, you're fucked up.
I'm coming.
Also, Moira is very excited.
It's just Bastion. Can we get on point?
Now you're in trouble. Just keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. Good. No, 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 no. Why are we here? Why are we here? We're literally in the least. I thought, you know, oh, it's going great. Yeah, we actually made it just to make it through here. We can just like go this way, go around the corner. It's safe. No, we literally stand in the single most open point of the map possible. This is not where we want to be, friend. There we go. Okay. This is a moment to... That was our moment. I know Moira ulted, but honestly, Transcendence would have been way better. Yeah. Like, your team is setting up. There is an engage happening. Like, we know what's about to happen here. McCree set up. He's gone. You know what time it is. Everything is 100% set up for a fight, except us. We could just Transcendence in this fight and just guarantee it's a complete shit stomp. It kind of breaks my heart. Okay. Now we're in trouble because they got a soldier on the high ground. We don't want to be here. Don't want to be... Okay, no, use it! Use it for fuck's sake! Oh god, luckily the soldier dropped down onto the point as well. That's actually doing us a world of favours. I want to take this guy and let go. Who hurt you? Who hurt you? What game was it that that you used Transcendence and someone went, "Oh my god, why did you use Trance there? Why? What the fuck were you doing? Oh my god, are you some kind of noob? Never use Transcendence again." And you went, "Oh man, I'm never pressing Q again unless there's a Graviton Surge or a Dragon Blade. That's all I'm doing from now on. Even if there's no Zarya or Genji in the game, that's what I'm doing now." Hey, there's a Pharah. Maybe the flowchart will apply. Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! No, for fuck's sake! No? No? Okay. Like, this... Tracer literally just killed herself. You can save a whole pile of people. You can, like... Let's talk about initiation and counter-initiation, okay? So initiation works in one or two ways. Like, this is a really good example of a clinical, like, this is clinical initiation. Enemy team lands tank ultimate goes through, enemy team is going to start doing things. Like, you've now transitioned from a passive form of play to, you know, trying to build ultimates, trying to get into position, stuff like that. Play has been made, Reinhardt throws out Earthshatter, Earthshatter landed. This means that the enemy team can now do things, okay? The gates are now open, the enemy team can actually make things happen. They're all going to be, like, everyone on the enemy team is going to be going, "Oh my god, we can kill everybody," and they're just going to be going in. Super hard. What you can do, as Zenyatta, who hasn't been caught by this, is go, "You know what? I know you want to do things, but I'm not going to let you do things. I'm going to press Q, and then anyone you try and kill is probably going to survive. It's going to make everyone so much safer." And you could have done it right there. And it's so confusing to me to see that not happen. Now you're going to have to use it to stall. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, thank god, okay. Oh, we got that far at least. Be very careful when leaving the payload like that. What you want to do, use this, okay, good, good, good. You see someone coming out, you just want to inch a little bit closer, just so that the edge of the Transcendence, and you're in lovely third-person view mode, so you can go into it. There, that's where you want to stop. Just to scoop them up into the Transcendence aura, you're going too far now. Going way too far now, because what I guarantee will happen at some point if you're doing this is you'll go too far and then the payload will just roll in, like that final 0.5 meters or whatever, that final 5 meters. You don't want to leave it for any, like, there is nothing more mortifying than using Transcendence and still losing the point.
Wait, save her, leave her, you monsters!
Welcome to Overwatch, Monster.
Hey, thank you, Michaeloos. Let's go with that. Thank you so much. Okay, now we have to do something rare, which is build up a new ultimate. But we're doing okay. Position honestly seems to be okay. We should kind of like optimize slightly here. Either be by this pillar or be a little bit further back. Don't just be like between two forms of cover. People seem to have this weird thing where they'll just end up between two separate pieces of cover. Like, just be by this wall or by this pillar. Either one works. As long as you can take refuge when necessary. Okay, now we're scared. Again, yeah. Don't want to.
Tracer got me left. Right.
Don't want to be out in the open. Reinhardt's just used an ult. Lol. If you're engaging a Widow, for the love of God, find cover.
Coming back with pulse.
Get on the point, get on the point.
Hey, Diva did it. Good, 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 good. Okay, now Widow.
Oh, GG all y'all.
There we go. I don't know why that didn't count for that Widow. To push it into overtime. That Reinhardt's name is still funny to me. despite all this time. Play the game. It's not our single transcendence. Oh, and hey, twitch.tv/LizDuck as well. Amazing, amazing! Look at the moves. And then he gets away with murder. Oh my god. Oh bless. This is always mortifying when a play of the game like this happens. You just hold left mouse button in this instance and you kill him still. What gets me about this is not the missed shots. It's the spray. It's the, oh yeah, I got him. Fucking outplay there, son. Oh god, bless him. Oh man, that's amazing. Got him. Got him. Out fucking played. Right, that'll do for coaching footage. Right, if you want to ask questions about Zenyatta and all that kind of stuff, do so now. I'm going to load up Overwatch, and then we shall take some questions. So, if I go over here and then do this, it should appear.
Welcome to Overwatch, Monsilly.
Beard. I cleaned up the beard a little bit. I cleaned up some of the neck fuzz. Discordian, thank you as well. I don't think I have. No, I don't have Twitch alerts on the screen. Actually, I need to fix that. Anyway, questions. Don't ask me to grow a beard because I clearly don't know how. It's looking okay though. It's looking alright. I cleaned up my neck. I shaved off a lot of the neck beard. My shaver's half busted though. I need to buy a new one. How much trance sealing did you do? That's actually a really good question. Do I still have that open? I need to close this one. Did I close it already? I think I might have done. Nope, there it is. You can hear the Overwatch music, so... No! Don't leave! Don't leave! Wait! There we go! Oh god, there's like a frame of it. Okay, brace. Oh wait, I'll pause it. Oh no, I shouldn't laugh. I shouldn't laugh, that's mean. That's so mean. Oh man, oh dear. I don't mean to be mean. That's... If you... Like, in a single ultimate, Transcendence can heal thousands of health. Absolutely thousands of healing. This was like a 16-minute game. So, yeah, to cap off this is the biggest problem. This is a huge issue. And, like, and the fact that the career average is 1,000 is concerning me deeply. The thing to do with Transcendence is this, okay? Like, let's turn this into a learning moment. If they have Zarya or Genji or both, you can absolutely play as we were playing. You just wait for them to use those powerful ultimates and then nullify them, and you will do a lot of healing just through virtue of that. That alone is extremely strong. If they do not have those heroes, and I'm going to basically run through Zarya, Genji, Soldier 76, and maybe Pharah. Like, you can catch barrages if they come in from up high as well. But it's trickier. But definitely like those three, Soldier, Genji, and Zarya are like the big ones. You can play by just holding Transcendence, waiting for them to ult, cancelling it. If you want to be a bit spicy, then what you do is you wait for either them to initiate with something like if an Earth Shadow landing hits 5 people, that's absolutely the time to do it. Like that's pretty much the same as a Graviton Surge landing and catching everybody. You want to use it then. Or if they just if your Reinhardt gets you know, hit with a charge, and then like they start just re-running in at you, you can use Transcendence then. If you're engaging onto their team and Orisa drops a bongo to counter-engage, you can just use Transcendence and just nullify the effect of the bongo. It means that your engage is completely safe. Like, there's so many different things you can do. We saw it earlier with the Reinhardt dropping down from high ground, dropping an Earth Shatter. If you want that Reinhardt to survive that play, and then your team to engage off the back of that play, to actually make that engage work, you have to use the Transcendence. And then you can probably just, like, if they don't have anything to retaliate with that, if they don't have any support ults of their own, they will probably just die and you will win. But yeah, that's a sort of my biggest concern. It's just like, we've got to get better at using our trances, because this is very low. And I'm going to try and confirm that now. If I go into just career profile, statistics, Zenyatta, all modes. I'm sure it's in here somewhere. Healing done. Hero damage done. Transcendence healing best. Self-healing. Self-healing, self-healing. So no... I wish there was a search function for this. Or like, they cut out most of the garbage ones. Like, we want the average trance healing. Healing done, average per 10. This is a good statistic. Is it maybe just like in all competitive seasons? Maybe it's in this. You could probably work it out, but... So, like, games played, games lost, games played. I've played more than... Oh, no, wait, this is Bahamut. This is my Smurf. That's why. 26 games played, 26... I want to go over here. So that's 26 over 7... I've done that backwards, because I'm an idiot. Clear. That's 70735 over, and it's 26. That can't be right. That can't be right. If best, no, I've done that wrong somewhere, or the statistics are wrong. Anyway, you get the point. Right, questions. People were asking questions. Let me go into options, sound. Never do maths on stream. It's a good way to end up embarrassed. I have a degree. I've got a science degree. I've got a BSc. I've got a difficult BSc. All hail the testicle god. Right, let's go over here. Let's hide this as well. Bring chat back. There we are. Zen Mercy or Zen Anna for a combination of supports. I still don't rate Anna. Zen Mercy should still be okay. Zen Lucio, Zen Moira should be fine. I don't rate Anna. If I go to Overbuff, I did this yesterday, but I'll do it again today. This is a very useful website. I bring this up a lot. I'm going to bring it up again because it is very useful. If I just go to this week, because like the patch has only been out for about this week, let me select supports, win rates. Lowest win rate by a good margin is Anna. Mercy has dropped down significantly. Moira, Lucio, Zen, and then Symmetra capping it off. Mercy's still by far the most played, but yeah, Anna is not good. Like, this is quite below the median, so that's a little bit scary. It's very hard to make Anna work effectively. There's a lot of ways to shut her down, and so it's just at the moment. Notice every other support has a plus 50% win rate. Go to Grandmaster. Notice that Mercy has the lowest of the GM supports. The thing with Grandmaster is Grandmaster very rarely plays in like full GM versus GM games. There's usually like a Master or two mixed in there, so that's why the win rates are always super high. Again, Mercy dropping down quite low. Dropping down quite low here. Mercy running at the bottom. Then Bronze. It makes sense for Anna to be super low in Bronze, but like uniformly Anna is at the bottom. It's just like Anna is very dubious as a pick, so just be very careful with it. There are times to play Anna. Those times are very limited, and like those times are when you have like a really good soldier, a really good Genji, and you can make Nano Blades work consistently. And even then, if you're playing like a really tanky comp, you can also play Anna then, but it's very hard. Do you think that Zenyatta throws his metal balls at people, or is it just energy from his balls? I think it's like, if I had to speculate, it probably is energy from his balls. I don't think he actually... It's weird because he seems to be able to create them, but the fact that he seems to carry 20 is, yeah. The thing that I'll say is this, and they've been very clear on this, which is that in-game and like in-game mechanics and out-of-game lore don't mesh. So like, you know, Reaper, if he wants to teleport, just turns into smoke. In lore, he just turns into smoke and just drifts around as he wants. He doesn't go very slowly go, I want to go over there. Confirmed. Death comes. Okay, now I'm here. Like, that's not how it works. So, yeah. Boston just finished Eichenwald. Ooh. Good on them for finishing it. Like, that should be a good match. I'm looking forward to going back and watching that one over. Does this qualify for one of the more triggering coaching sessions? I think it does. It's weird to just see something where it's like, I see like the opportunity very clearly, and it's like the guy doesn't react at all. It's like, come on, please, please, do it, just do it. It's fine. Like, let me cap this off with this. Right? I tease because I'm joking. I don't actually think, oh my god, what a noob. That's not the point here. Anyone submitting footage has done something relatively brave. It is very, very difficult to put your gameplay in front of an audience, even one as relatively small as mine. It's still nerve-wracking to have that. And to be teased and poked at is also a little bit sort of unfair. Like, the reason why this person has done this is they want to improve, they want to get better, they want to sort of fix one or two bits and pieces up. That's absolutely something that should be focused on and fixed up. And they'll be A-okay doing that. The big thing, like, so yeah, like, if you are the coachee, don't feel bad about it. It's just something to keep in mind in the future. Should Zen be doing alt fire at corners, doorways, even when not sure if an enemy is going to use them with no enemy in sight, just in case? Yes, it's a good habit. Like, this is how Boombox and like Jajonak and all of these Zenyatas get a lot of kills, is when you play enough Overwatch, you know where people are going to be at about what time, especially at the sort of the starting phase of the map. You can expect people to go around corners at specific times. You can kind of know, oh, the enemy's starting to push out at this point. Okay, I know where they're coming from. I'm just going to put some right click at that corner and you'll be okay. The one thing that I will say compared to like what we saw earlier with Missile Mage and even this guy is after you've done your right click, you might want to just reload straight away, just so you don't end up in those instances where you've just used up all your ammo. Like, there's no harm in just waiting a moment, reloading, okay, go back, boom, send in the next one, reload, go back, wait, right click, boom, and just keep sending them through. You just want to be putting damage where people need to be going through, because if you hit anything, and like I did this is on the Unit Lost channel at the moment. So if I go to Unit Lost, I just want to sort of highlight how powerful this is, and this was on that video. So yeah, that's why I'm
Welcome to Overwatch.
Go and do that. Hey! Bacon-scented soap. Wow. Delicious. Delicious. So, this is Unit Lost. This is a video that I made for Unit Lost, and I want to be about here. Yeah, so I draw attention to this in the video, but if you watch Bedosin, like, he's on 66% ultimate charge at the moment, and he's just firing at where the enemy needs to be, and you can see just how much he gains. And that's just putting damage, and notice with this positioning, this is kind of what I'm talking about, notice how completely safe this positioning is. Because if any threat is there, he has cover either side of him, he has a large health pack, he's all the way in the back, nowhere safer for him. Like, the actual space he's shooting through is just this tiny little bit here. That's all he's doing, he's just putting orbs through that again and again and again, and he builds up 40% ult charge. It's insane how much value that brings. And it's all just a matter of knowing, okay, well, the enemy has to move through here, so I'm just going to keep firing through it, and then if I get something, you could kill someone, you can get an ultimate, you can do so many things from it. And there's no reason kind of not to. There's no downside to it as well. So, yeah, do it. How many Zen do you need to change the light bulb? Just one. He just floats it up there and then screws it in. No problem. If one already has a good handle on Lucio, which will be a better support to focus on, Zen or Moira? Zen. At the moment, Zen is very meta, so I imagine basically Zen is probably going to occupy the same spot Mercy occupied before. So before it was like, your support options are Mercy plus X. Now Mercy's been sort of dumpstered a little bit, it's going to be Zen plus X. because Zen is sort of always been relatively powerful. Like pre-patch, it was just Mercy. Like 99.9% of situations, you ran Mercy plus Zen. Or you could run Mercy Zen and be fine. Like occasionally you would see Lucio. And then for very specific comps, you bring out something different. But for now, like Zen plus X is just fine. So if you know Lucio, you probably want to have a hand on the Zen, just so that if it arises you have to play Zenyatta, you can play him. So yeah. Jajonak from New York seems to make insane use out of Mercy damage boost to go Super Saiyan Boombox mode. Do you think the pros might still run Mercy for that purpose, or is that utility still too niche? I think that's too niche. They might still run Mercy for the value that the res brings. Like, a lot of what the like, don't get me wrong, Valkyrie is a big part of it, and like that instantaneous double res is a huge part of it. But also, what is a huge part of it is the ability to just like when you are safe, to just be able to pick someone up. And like a lot of these Orisa comps and like Orisa Roadhog or even Orisa Diva, you can still generally get a res off. So like they might still run Mercy because of that. I doubt it though, just because it might be less efficient overall, but we'll see how it pans out. The damage amp plus Zenyatta has just sort of become a thing. It's like it's a good just use of downtime. Very few heroes have long range poke. Like if you're not running a Widow, damage amping a Zenyatta as he spams into corners is a good use of your time as Mercy. So yeah. Also, how do you suggest compensating for bad FPS in game? More as a general question. Overwatch comes with a whole pile. Let's get rid of Google Chrome. Overwatch has a whole pile of settings and things for you to customize as far as video goes. You can you can do all sorts of things, and you can customize all sorts of bits and pieces. You can even downscale if you want, just to get that refined FPS experience. At the very least, try and get to 50 FPS. Most people also recommend playing it in full screen. I should play in full screen technically, but I like the freedom as a streamer to be able to sort of like, I wouldn't be able to do half the shit I do on Coaching the Many if I had to flip between full screen and not. It's just a pain in the ass as a streamer. But if you are serious about Overwatch and really serious about improving, full screen is the way to go. But yeah, like you can turn off and turn on all sorts of different settings. There's tons and tons of guides online about what settings to do. You notice a lot of my settings are down low. Like I have a pretty decent computer. I have a 970 in there and an i7 processor. Like I have a pretty solid computer, but I still turn it down pretty low. Screenshot quality is super high because I need high-res screenshots. These things are enormous, take up a huge amount of disk space. Every time I clean it out, it's like 10 gigs freed up. It's ridiculous, but hey. So, about Overwatch League rankings. In my opinion, top team rankings is number 1 NY, number 2 Valiant London, 4 Houston, 5 Seoul, 6 Philly. You are overrating Valiant is what I would say. And probably underrating Seoul badly. If I had to speculate, I would probably say London in first, Seoul second, New York third, but it's very, very close between the three. Like I would be relatively confident in saying that when Spitfire are taking it seriously and playing properly, I'd say Spitfire is still the strongest team. Second place is between NY and Seoul. Fourth place is a little bit trickier, and I probably agree with Valiant. And then fifth is probably going to be Houston, yeah. And then after that, it gets kind of like foggy. It gets really foggy. It could even be Boston. Trance versus Valk on using at the same time. Could it be good for Valk use as a damage booster for the team, building up slow ults like Grav, or Trance saves them for emergency if Zen dies? No. The reason why is because it's just not, like, it's not an efficient way of doing things. Let me put it this way. If a team, like, let's say you're playing two teams. Okay, you have Team A and Team B. And Team A do what you say to, well, do what you're asking about there. They use Trance and they use Damage Amp Valkyrie at the same time. They engage super hard. They go in super, super aggressively. And then they win a fight. Okay? Team B does the opposite. Team B cycles through ultimates. So what will happen is when Team A initiates, Team B will just use Transcendence, be absolutely fine, and then just the fight will just pan out how it does. Next fight, Team B will then just use Valkyrie, and then the fight will just go in their favor because they have this super powerful ultimate. Team A will then be able to do their combo again. Team B just Transcendence it again. So on, so on, so on, so on, so on. You basically want to have your support ultimates sort of alternating off and on. The reason why you use 2 in some fights is because one ultimate finishes and the second ultimate will begin, and you're basically, it's like a game of poker, where it's like you're trying to figure out how much the enemy team is going to be putting in, and then figuring out from there how much you want to put in, and like you're betting on the odds of you winning the team fight if you put in this much compared to if they put in this much, and that's sort of, this is how the poker analogy functions. Because if, let's say that if the enemy team puts in Transcendence and you put in Transcendence, okay, you're now equal. There's a 50-50 chance of you winning the fight, but maybe you think, oh, our DPS is better, so I'm not going to use so we're not going to use Valkyrie. We're just going to let these ults run out, and then we're just going to go in for a straight up fight. The enemy team goes, we're actually a bit nervous, and we think that their Tracer is better than us, so we're going to use Valkyrie too. And then if you don't respond and you don't go, shit, they've just upped the ante, we need to do the same. If you don't do that and you lose, then you're still in an okay position, but you're still trying to play from behind. You're still trying to push back onto a point, which is always a bit difficult. They could use some kind of ultimate just to sort of shut down the Valkyrie, or they could use something to shut down the sound barrier and just kill through it. There's like ways past a single support ultimate, so it's a little bit dicey. The point at the end of the day, the goal is to win the fight. And so you want to win the fight using as few resources as possible. If that means using both support ultimates, that means using both support ultimates. What that doesn't mean is it shouldn't take 6 ultimates to win a fight. If you're in that point, then you're just trying to fish out enemy team ultimates, and then you just come into the next fight, use 2 ultimates, and then you just win. But that's sort of more advanced economy. So it's about like figuring out how far you are willing to go, basically. But I don't like damage amp Valk is not worth it. May also good for transing as well. Yes. Zenyatta is clearly named for the Zen. What does the Yatta mean? I don't know. If your tanks won't position themselves in a way that makes it possible for you to do your job properly, what can you do? Can you work around it, and how? You shouldn't be dependent on your tanks as playing Zenyatta. Like, let's relate this to Zenyatta. If you're playing Zen and you're relying on your tanks for protection, something's sort of fucked up, because as Zen, you should, like, most of your time should be spent around a corner. Zen is very, very happy around corners. This is where he wants to be. He wants to just be peeking out, doing some damage, putting a heal orb, putting a Discord orb, hiding. Okay, I'm now safe in my little corner, in my little spot. I can then just like peek out, do another shot, and I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm feeling good. Like, you shouldn't be relying on a barrier or something just to survive. So it's just like playing in a conservative position and going from there. It gets trickier when the enemy team starts like flanking super heavily, but even then, the tanks, like the off-tank is the one that should be helping you, so you should be running more towards your Roadhogs, your Zaryas, your Divas, stuff like that, and relying on them to help you. The main tank should be sort of out of your mind, because the main tank's job is to sort of take space and hold space more than the off-tanks, where the off-tank is more dealing with threats as they come up and then maybe helping take some space every so often, or handling specific threats at specific times. And if you got bad tanks, then you just gotta... You can try and make plays off it. If you've got a Reinhardt that's like super aggro chargy, you just put a healing orb on him every time he tries to charge in. You'll build up your ultimate a lot faster. Sometimes you'll get a kill. It feels good. A lot of times you'll just die. Sucks. What would you suggest for practicing and improving aim as Zen? I've been using Deathmatch and I think it's been useful. Deathmatch is good for it. Quick play is also fine. The thing with Zenyatta aiming is it's a lot about prediction. So it's just a matter of just playing a lot and just knowing sort of how people move, where people are, how to, like, what head height each hero is, because each hero is slightly different. And then just sort of predicting, like, getting used to how tracers move around and stuff like that. And also understanding how tracers behave. Like, if you land a headshot, she's going to recall. Okay, it's like, you land that headshot and you just prepare for reorbing her as quickly as possible. It's that kind of thing. It's just like very, very small things. McCree's just keeping, like... McCree's are always going to be dangerous, because if you get too close, they'll flash you. If you're like at mid-range, then he's just going to line up shots and kill you. So McCree's are always going to be iffy. You want to play around cover a lot more. Use like a Discord orb, charge right-click, and then try and take him out in a single blow. Because he can't really move super well, so you're going to try and headshot him off. And it's just stuff like that, like learning how each like little one-on-one duel goes, and then just trying to learn how to survive and maximize your survivability when you're being dove by people. So if you're going to quick play and you find that people are laying Genji Tracer and diving you a lot, then just use that as a way of like, well, sure, Genji Tracer dived me, but I killed the Tracer. Or like Genji Dragonblade didn't went for me, but I did 150 damage to him in the process because he just dashed straight at me, so I just right-clicked him and took a shitload of his hit points off, and now my team has just killed him. Like, stuff like that can sort of really help out. How much should I spam as Pharah? Quite a lot, but I'm not a Pharah expert. You should try, and the way I think of it is like you should try and control choke points. The hardest part about spamming with Pharah is just make sure you don't try and make a play after, like immediately after spamming. You've got to reload because you only have 6 rockets. You have a long reload, and if you try and do something without reloading, you are going to just end up reloading mid-battle and die. You can't afford to sort of be forced into a reload as Pharah. Very difficult to do. Quit maths? No. Ugh. Is any bad advice you've had repeated that you will want to correct? I've never been a big fan of, like, I'll tell you, like, rather than that, what I'll tell you is, like, in my mind, the wrong way to go about things, which is, so let me give you an example. Way back when, Genji had an ability called the edge dash, and if I go into Google and go Genji edge dash guide, right? And I look at this, you notice that I don't have a video about this, but a lot of people do, and like, look at all these views. So many views on these people. Edge dash tutorials, edge dash tutorials, edge dash tutorials. So many edge dash tutorials. Oh my god. Like, oh yeah, oh god, yeah, I'm gonna go study how to do this edge dash ability, and I'm gonna go and do it and then kill people. I'm gonna look amazing when doing it. I'm gonna start off my highlight clips as well when I use the edge dash, go super high in the air, Dragon Blade, and come down and kill tons and tons of people. That is the wrong mindset to me. Edge dashing would be a useful ability if you have the fundamentals and basics down. The people who watch this, the 380,000 people who watch this guide, I'm sure it's a fine guide, I'm sure it's doing its job, no issues with the guide itself. But the people watching it, odds are, I would say 99.9% of those Genjis do not need to worry about even considering using edge dash to reposition themselves or to do anything of the sort. They need to focus on improving their basic positioning, their basic gameplay flow, their aim, and their sort of ability to judge a battle, when to go in, when to use Dragon Blade, all that kind of stuff. There are a million more important things for them to be focusing on. But people get really caught up in these tricks, and it just drives me insane. Those tricks are useful, they have their place, but until you are in Diamond, High Diamond, Masters, Grandmaster, you should not really be overly concerned with them. They are minor things that will make very, very marginal increases in your ability, where you could be spending that time learning and improving your aim, improving your game sense, playing more and getting better. Rather than spending like hours and hours and hours in custom maps learning how to edge dash, you could just be playing in death matches, improving your aim, or improving your ability to take one-on-one duels, stuff like that. That to me is infinitely more annoying. Like, sometimes people come out and it's like, oh yes, well I have this very minor trick, you know, Soldier 76, if you do this jump, this jump, this jump, and then rocket here, you can get to this position. It's like, the amount of times that position is going to be useful is very, very minor. And in learning that, you haven't really learned anything of value. You think that you've learned something really cool, but it's like, there are better things to focus on. At the end of the day, Overwatch is an FPS. You have to apply FPS logic to it. So aiming well, positioning well, working well with your team. These are the things that are going to make you better at Overwatch. And that's sort of where the focus should really be. It's best trans healing per single press of key. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I would like to stand on high ground, such as the end of first point Gibraltar. Is this worth doing if you're only going up there by yourself? It can be if they don't have like a Widowmaker or something. It just, like, if they have a sniper of any kind, or like you start getting harassed, be very, very careful. The issue with Zen as well on that final point, so if we draw a schematic of third looks like this, and then it like has an open space here, right? So this is the path the payload takes. Okay, This is where the payload starts. This is where the payload finishes. There's a bridge like here. Okay, and then there's like the room here, whatever. And then like a wall here, whatever. You get the idea. So the issue with being up here is A, your team is going to be like down here most of the time, so you won't actually be able to see them to support them. You'd have to like come to the edge and look down, which means you're a little bit vulnerable. You could, in theory, try positioning like here, but then you won't be able to poke. Whereas if you're down here, there's a pillar, and then there's like a wall over here that you can, use, and like this spot is very, very powerful to just put damage out. You can even sort of hide more towards here. You don't really want to be on this corner. You want most of the team in front of you. So like in this. Let's use yellow. In this sort of area here is where you really want to be. The key with Zen is just to see as many things as possible, but not be so far away that if something happens on the back line that you can't get support. Like you don't want to be, for example, over here. Because then if the tracer comes through like this way and gets on you, no one will be able to help you and you'll just die. Well, if you're here, you can maybe just pull inwards and just go this way and then sort of get to your team, and your team can help you a little bit. So it's sort of very, very minor things like that. Being on high ground is not a bad idea as Zen, but it's just, you want to be safe. Like, safety is what matters. Because you want to have those orbs up as long as possible in fights, and you want to be somewhere where you can see where the enemy team's going through, putting damage out, that kind of stuff. Also, did you like the Spitfire skin? I did. Can you have your tilt face on the thumbnail of every trigger warning, can't you? Do I have a tilt face? I don't know if I have a tilt face. Zenyatta is insane? Yes, he is. He is better than Boombox. Actual not meme question now. Do you think Blizzard will look into tuning down Zenyatta at all in the future? Pros have been saying that Zen's overpowered for a while, so it wouldn't surprise me. We'll see. Again, I'm fine with Blizzard. Like, what I would like out of Blizzard's patching is, like, there's a lot of heroes that need just tweaking at the moment, but I am fine with them just going to like 2 heroes and just changing those, and then 2 months later doing another balance patch on something else. The issue I'm having right now is that Blizzard is like 4 months, 5 months, and in that time it goes from like frustration to resentment. And what's happening to like, people will whine at Sty, for example, and you know, even I'm sort of guilty of this, where it's like I am actively fed up of the Mercy matter. Like, just actively, it makes me angry to think about. That's happened because of the patch cycle, and the patches existed so long that it just feels like the game is in a place where I don't want to play it. So when I do play it, I get frustrated, and then I take that out on what's frustrating me, which is the Mercy matter. And so when it takes this long to have a patch cycle to change something that is very clearly problematic, it's what gives you, it's where that sort of resentment comes from. Things go from being an annoyance, it's like, oh shit, yeah, this hero doesn't feel fun, it's kind of annoying, to, Jesus Christ, I have to play Mercy every single fucking game, I don't want to do that, so I'm going to do something else. And the longer and longer it takes to patch, the more and more that resentment builds, until you hit this point where it is now, where it's people are actively abusing Mercy players, of like, haha, you can't play Mercy anymore, she's shit now, she got nerfed. It doesn't matter if Mercy is even viable or not, people are just bashing the shit out of Mercy, because they are so fed up with it. And it's like, to me, that is the bigger issue. It's not how many heroes are being addressed, it's how long it takes to address them, because that's what leads to people getting angry and fed up. Here, how do I right click like Jonak? So again, just to sort of recover it, know where players are going to move through, know how players position themselves as they get ready for fights, know somewhere that is safe to do this from, hold down right mouse button, poke out, let go of the right mouse button to have a Mercy damage amp you, put it where the enemy's highest traffic is, aim at head height, someone probably will die. Especially if they're bad at positioning, and especially if people don't like hide behind barriers, if tanks don't keep barriers up, if tanks don't protect people as they come around corners, very easy to scoop up a couple of kills. Any really good tips with left-click training with friends, just 1 versus 1? If you're playing Zenyatta, probably not. The thing with Zen is, I think FFA would do it better. Because Zenyatta, it's very rare you're going to be in the situation where you're going to have, like, a very, very clear outline of, like, oh, enemy and me. what is more likely to be happening, what is more realistic, is that you are in position, you are doing things, and then enemy comes in from behind. Tracer comes in from behind, and now you are fighting a Tracer. So it's like the Tracer will usually have the element of surprise. Sometimes you'll be able to see her coming, and in which case you'll be able to right-click, prepare, and then do damage to her. FFA will be a little bit more useful, but there's sort of no substitution for just competitive outright. I don't see, like, doing 1v1s against Genjis and stuff might work, but I think the Genji will just end up winning most instances, where the Zenyatta is more reliant on just getting a solid right-click in and then finishing the target off, or seeing where the target's coming from and being prepared for it, and sort of doing that, and just reacting appropriately when getting dived. Boston 1 Icon Vault? Noise. Doesn't surprise me too much. Can you do Spitfire versus London for probing? I was stunned at how much of a stump it was and I'd love to see your take on it. I will be doing it for Overanalyzed. I'll probably be doing that tomorrow. I might do Spitfire vs London in general tomorrow anyway. I was surprised as well. I know a lot of people put a lot of focus on them playing Guido, instead of Ryu Jae-hong. I know Bishop said afterwards that he was surprised they didn't play Ryu Jae-hong. I have no idea what the reason that is for that. But from the statistics that they were throwing up during the middle of the match, it looked like they constantly were referencing, you know, like Bunny has died X number of times and hasn't killed Prophet once. Stuff like that. Like, it felt like Bunny was getting completely shut down. It felt like, also a lot of people have commented on the way that London have played is a lot more defensive, a lot more survivable, and so they just tweaked their playstyle a little bit, and suddenly Seoul had no idea what to do. Winston Diva Genji dies me a Zen. Who do I escape to? Nobody, you just die. There's nothing you can do in that instance. You are 100% reliant on your team saving you. You cannot do anything about that. If it's Winston, Diva, and Genji, yeah, there's no way you can do anything. Like, you are basically, your job is to just right click and then try and kill someone. You try and run towards a Roadhog, try and run towards a Diva. If you have a Diva, she can maybe help you out a little bit there and maybe make you last a moment or two longer, but you're just trying to put damage onto someone before dying and trying to survive as long as possible. Pick up a health kit, something. It's... But yeah, like, there's no, like, a dive where 3 targets are all on you, you just die. Your opinion on would Houston have won if they had Linkser? Are you referring to today or yesterday's match? Assuming that Houston played today. I believe they did. They did against Seoul. No, that was yesterday, yeah. Ugh, these time zones. I wouldn't count on it. It would have been nice for them, but it's weird. Like, Seoul, again, just looked weak during that series. I think I went to bed at about the time SF Shock versus Mayhem were playing. I wasn't too interested in Shock versus Mayhem anyway. So Zenyatta's Pokemon type? Surely he's Psychic. Just pure Psychic. Psychic fighting? It doesn't do much fighting though. It's very non-physical. I'll do one or two more questions. There was a question a while ago. I feel meant to ask how much you should spam at Farah as Zen. Moderately. Like, you shouldn't make it, like, if there's better targets to spam at, then sure. You should be putting Discord orbs on her as much as, like, pretty often, because if you do, she's just fucked. But otherwise, don't like, there are better things for you to shoot at, but you can add pressure. If she's trying to hug a corner, that's usually the best time to be shooting at her, because you know where she's going to be, so it's easier to predict. How do I train for our air duels? That's where you want to go and, like, get a friend, or get, like, get your mercy friend, get 2 other friends, and then just go and duel. There used to be a game mode that was just like pharmacy in the air, but otherwise, yeah, I think I'll wrap it up there just because. Oh wait, there we go. Spitfire versus Dynasty. Yeah. How have Boston been doing so well? They just train, like, they practice super hard. They run a very, very clean single strategy. They play around a carry player, which is Dream Casper, and he seems to be good enough to carry them. He's just very, very solid. Like, they are playing a very, very solid standard type of Overwatch. They're not doing anything flashy. They're not pushing any boundaries. It's just, they're just well trained and playing well. which to me means that, like, I gave the analogy that Boston in my mind are like the Krillin of the Overwatch League, or like more like TN, I suppose, where it's like they will get to a certain point though where I think the star power of these other players will be just so much better. So like they will never surpass the Korean teams, because I think the Korean team's potential is way higher than where Boston's is, unless Boston substitutes some players out.
Welcome to
but we'll
Overwatch,
see.
Monsilly.
This is a lot of subs all of a sudden. What the hell? Thank you so much for all of these subs at the moment. So Comrade Handsoap as well with the 11 months. Thank you so much for that. Shadowed Relic as well. Welcome back, Shadowed Relic. I think you have been a sub in the past. And X Tommy Gun as well. Thank you so much for that. So many things. So many things. Okay. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Boom. So, to get your footage reviewed, send it into CoachingTheMany at oamreviews@gmail.com. Include the hero name and the rank in the title. Include if you're a Twitch sub or not as well. If you are a Twitch sub, then, hey, you have slightly higher priority. Yeah, otherwise, thank you so much for watching to the end. And, yeah, it's been my absolute pleasure to bring this one to you. Remember, use those Zenyatta ultimates if you have them. Use them if you have them. Otherwise, yeah, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Toodles. Boom, YouTube's gone. Right. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for the subs.